appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Oh, no.
There we go. All right, we are live. I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of set up if you want to share it to your page and stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to tell everyone what we're kind of doing here. This is Chris Wells. I'll switch it back to me. So we are today with Chris and Sara Wells. They are joining me. They were nice enough to come on, and they're going to talk to us about, first of all, how they're staying sane with 4 boys in the house all the time with school and everything else canceled. We're going to learn about Sara. We're going to learn about Chris. First, we'll start off with her since she has to take off first. She has degrees in psychology and education. She used to work as a HAB manager for Impact, where she actually supervised workers who take care of adults and kids with mental and physical disabilities. She wrote care plans for the disabled and had the staff implement them. Then she started working for the state of Indiana, where she assessed individuals with special needs and determined what services they would need. Then she took time off to be a stay-at-home mom for the last boy. After he started school, she went back to work as an aide in the Hobart school system, where she got her teaching degree. At one point, she was actually a classroom aide for Chris. That I bet was entertaining, and I'd love to hear all about it. Then she got a job as a social studies teacher at Portage Christian Schools. After a couple of years, she transferred to Oregon Davis, where she now teaches AP U.S. history, psychology, and sociology. She is incredibly smart. So let's see. Let me get this back here. There we go. All right. So there obviously is Sara, and there is Chris. Don't worry, I will get into Chris's history once she has to take off. But I wanted to make sure we introduced her first, because she's actually going to be taking off a little early so that she can do her Bible study. Right?
Right. We were booking things at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, primo scheduling here at the Wells house.
Hey, there you go.
Things work, yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. So you were actually an aide for a little bit. That I found interesting. That had to be fun, right? Is that how you two met?
Actually, we met the first week of college, very early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm getting a look again.
Because he was talking to me.
Sorry. I answered.
No, we did. Okay. We met the first week of college, and we were. He was actually coming up to play cards with us because my neighbor across the dorm hall knew him, and that's how we met. And we were friends because we both liked to play cards. We were friends right away. So we've known each other since we were 18.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it's been a really long time.
Yeah. I know people here heard I got less time than I've got in. That's one thing. Like, we're a little different. You know, we have the same personality, and we joke around and fool around about lots of stuff. And it kind of, you know, I don't think people understand yet. Everyone always asks me, like, you know, you're an elected official. Your wife does this. How is that good? Well, she's very smart and has her own mind. I can't control when I actually want her not to talk to me, and you know, she doesn't listen to me. So what makes you think she'll listen to me when I say, "Hey, don't post that. Don't," you know, she's very strong-willed.
That's it. That's a good word for it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
That's good though. That's That's one of the things that I would say is probably one of the contributing factors to some of the most successful relationships that I've heard about, growing up. My grandparents, they get along, but they each have their own independent and strong personalities. Is that kind of what you guys have?
Yeah, we're both really sarcastic. So my mom was convinced we were going to get divorced within like a year of getting married because we're both so sarcastic and we're that way with each other. But he doesn't put up with my crap and I don't put up with his. And I don't think either of us would do well with somebody who just did whatever. Like if he just did whatever I wanted all the time, it sounds nice, but that would be really boring.
Right.
So
right.
I think it's good to have somebody to say. Now today he kept telling me to shut up and get off of Facebook, and I ignored him. But I was irritated today and got on Facebook, and he was like, "Stop it!" And I'm like, "No, not doing that." So, yeah.
Hey, Mark. Mark is also he is the new District 1 counselor for Hobart. He's a really nice guy. So he's one of the few counselors who actually had a surgery. How long ago was it now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, she had a surgery in January. Mark checked in on us every day to make sure she was doing well. So I really appreciate that guys last time. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We have some really good friends, at least on the council with me, so that's good to see.
Yeah.
So
good deal. Maggie waved and said hello.
Say Maggie.
Okay, stop.
Sorry. This is me. I get in trouble.
You can't tell stories about every person who says hi on the thing. But
right.
Or till tomorrow.
Yeah, I have that problem too, so don't feel bad. I'm going to see if this works a little bit. No, just kind of. So that's okay. You're the featured star, so we're just going to go back to that. You're going to try it. That's all right. So you have 4 children, right? 4 boys that are home from school now and all over all the time. How is that going?
It's well, today I actually said, if you hurt your brother again this morning, you're grounded. So that's how it's going. So the oldest is 18 and is actually out of school, but has been off on workers' comp since the middle of November, and was supposed to go back to work this week. And now we're having paperwork problems because everybody's off because we're quarantined. So he's chomping at the bit to get outside and do his thing and not be stuck in the house with all the people, and driving us on that in the process. And then the other 3, it's hard because we've got one who gets all his work done in about 45 minutes, and then one who's in high school in all honors classes just plugs away for hours, and then one who school is not his gig. And it doesn't matter if it's here or in the building or anywhere, school is not his gig. So we take lots of brain breaks with him, and it'll take him hours to get his stuff done. And at the same time, we're both trying to teach our own students and answer questions and create assignments. And it has not been the best month of our lives.
I just agree with you guys. My apartment in the basement, basically, and I hang out downstairs and shit with the kids.
So 5 of us upstairs are struggling, and this one made a man cave and disappeared. So, yeah.
Works well.
It's been great for one of us.
Right. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I understand. I'd love to be able to gear up my room. I'm actually borrowing my wife's office for this little deal, so I can do little stuff. She erased my sign. I don't know if you guys noticed the last time. My sign's different. I'm going to show you real quick. I had to change it because she erased it because she had, she actually had to do work, so she had to be on camera. She's like, I can't have that. She works. She's like, I can't have that political stuff behind me. So she erased it and put my stuff. I'm like, I got to redo it all now. So I get it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the big things too, is we're making videos for our students and kids will go running by or they'll start hurling at each other. You've got to make sure the house is halfway clean before you don't want your kids thinking you live in a garbage dump. So it's been a little, it's a lot. I think people think teachers have it easy because we're working from home. I would say it's honestly more work to work from home than it was to be at school every day.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of the students, especially, but more than the students, the parents, I think that the kids are doing their e-learning, but they kind of think that the teachers are just sitting at home drinking some latte and not, really having to worry about too much. But here we go. We have two teachers here who can tell us that it's actually more work for you than going to the classroom.
Well, and trying to track the kids down who don't turn their work in and send information. I mean, I sent out, for all 11 assignments I've done since we've been on this quarantine break, I sent emails yesterday to every student. If you missed assignment 1, I sent you an email saying you didn't have assignment 1 done. If you missed assignment 2, so every single kid that missed assignments was getting emails. So, I mean, I sent out 100 and some emails yesterday, and just, and kids are like, well, when can I meet with you? I'm like, I'm on a Zoom conference every day at noon. You can come and meet me there. And then, of course, I'm supposed to be working 11 to 3 every day for the kids. The kids can come to me for 11 to 3 every day. I have kids that contact me at like 6 o'clock at night, like, can you help me with this problem now? It's like, I was there at noon. You were not doing your job yet. You didn't turn your computer on yet, because we have a way to see your computer. I'm like, your computer turned on at like 5 o'clock. You didn't attempt yet. So basically, mom and dad got home from work probably and like, hey, Did your work get done? And oh no. So it's kind of hard to get those non-motivated students motivated.
Well, and I was on the phone with one of my students like right before we started this. I just got off the phone with one of my AP students was having a hard time, and it was just easier to talk to her, but she couldn't talk to me until this evening. So, we have set hours, but they're emailing you. I had one at 6:22 this morning. Chris had one at 12:30 this morning. Come through. And then I've seen all those memes too about like now parents are homeschooling. And I think that does a disservice to the teachers and also to parents who actually do homeschool. Because parents are helping their kids with their schoolwork, which I assume they do every day anyhow. It may be more schoolwork at maybe different hours, but you're not homeschooling means that you as the parent are coming up with the information and providing the instruction and then also grading the assignment. And that's what's not happening. That's not what's happening right now. The teachers are still coming up with the content and providing the content and creating the assignments and grading the assignments. And parents are just there to help their kids make sure they get it done. And so I think I get irritated when people say that they're homeschooling their kids now because of the quarantine. I don't think that's accurate. And I think it's demeaning to what teachers do every day and to what actual homeschool parents do every day, because it is not anywhere close to the same.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I know that there are those who think that just because they have to make sure their children are turning their Chromebooks on or computers or whatever, that constitutes homeschooling, and it's laughable. Right? It is. It is laughable. My middle son actually went online for a couple of years through K-12, and even that wasn't homeschooling. I mean, homeschooling is rigorous and regimented and a lot of work. And as teachers know, it does not translate to turning the Chromebook on and checking and going, oh yeah, you didn't do this, Johnny, go do that. That's not homeschooling.
Exactly. No. Yeah. Exactly. So I got ripped apart. I actually got kicked out of a Facebook group for making that point. So
it happens a lot.
I do. I get kicked out a lot. But this one, it was actually the Purple for Parents group, which is an anti-Red for Ed group, which I was all excited about. And then I pointed out that homeschooling was going on and they kicked me out. So
wow, really? See, now that's interesting to me because I was excited about Purple for Parents too. I had seen the little post that I think it was some little blonde teacher had put up that she had gotten fired. She was associated with the Purple for Parents. I think she was the Indiana founder who brought it to Indiana. Right. Yeah. And so I saw that post and I started looking into it and I was like, ooh, this is interesting because as we know, there's a huge number of a huge amount of politicization of the Red for Ed movement. What they purport is more pay for teachers, better, stuff, but it's actually very politically motivated. So, okay, maybe we have an opportunity to have something different. And see, that's interesting to me that they're so quick to kick you out of the group simply for pointing out that there's a difference between real homeschooling and what we have right now. That really drops them in my estimation.
Yeah, I went to Chris. I was like, of all the groups for me to get kicked out of, I am so get government out of education and just let us teach and leave us alone. Like, that is my whole thing about teaching. And so for all the groups for me to ever get kicked out of, that one kind of blew my mind because, and it was all about me pointing out that homeschooling isn't what you're doing with your kids right now. That was my last argument, and bye, I was gone.
Wow.
So
that's crazy because see, that's the kind of thing that they attribute to the Red for Ed movement. If you disagree with them, they shut you down. Red for Ed, we've seen that, before, but with these, they're supposed to be a lot more, they're supposed to listen a lot more and be a lot more open-minded. And that's interesting. That sucks. It does, because I was really excited about them too.
Well, and I was sharing their posts on Facebook. Like, I was all in on Purple for Parents. So I guess this is me now publicly bashing them, which isn't really but it really, it kind of bothered me that, you're supposed to be all in favor of parents and supportive of parents, and that's how that went. So yeah.
And
sorry, I'm two for two today. So sorry.
Yeah. No, for what it's worth, I'm absolutely with you that right now this is not homeschooling at all, even remotely, because you two as two teachers, you're still doing the work. You're still putting the assignments out there. You're still teaching the kids how to do it, showing them, and you have to be available, as you say, all the time. You get emails from kids at all different hours because nobody actually wants to do it when they're supposed to.
Right. Well, and Jonah is in high school, and my extent of Jonah's quarantine work is, hey, are you doing your e-learning? Yeah. Any questions? No. Okay, keep it up. That's not homeschooling.
I mean, the kid does have a 4.0 GPA or higher, but yeah.
Nice.
We have
4.2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew it was something.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So he's a very bright kid. If you're in one of our two classes, I mean, I make a video every lesson I teach where, I have to deal with the two where my wife is not a math person. So she gets my iPad and she videos me teaching the lesson, and she will ask questions as if she was the student. Cause I don't get what you just did. I'm like, okay. So I'm teaching her basically how to do something. And it's my kids get a 35-minute lesson of how to do stuff. We installed a chalkboard in our basement years ago before when our kids were growing up. So we had a chalkboard downstairs. I went and brought home my giant coordinate plane right on map. Have that down there, and I have all this stuff to teach off on my wall downstairs. I'm teaching the actual lesson center, teaching the lesson for people to see. And so I do lessons where the kids see me actually teaching in the room.
With me asking questions going, I didn't get that, Mr. Walsh. Can you do that one more time?
And then Sarah does the same thing where she sits down the other night, because she always asks questions when I'm doing stuff. So the other night when she was teaching her lesson, I went and sat down right behind her. She was teaching, and it was making comments that she was teaching her lesson on how trade was developed in the Western world through the Americas. And so it was interesting to watch the lesson. She actually teaches the lessons on the computer like this, and then videos it and sends it off. So
yeah.
So
hey, that brings us back to, I was an math aide, and I worked for 2 years at Hobart Middle School as an aide. And the first year, I primarily worked for one teacher. I was in her room all day long in the remedial math class. And then the second year, I got split. And so there were, for 2 class periods a day, I was his aide. And that was an amazing experience. Every child who had the two of us together will never ever be the same again. It was because we didn't, other than referring to each other as Mr. Wells and Mrs. Wells instead of Chris and Sarah, we really didn't treat each other any differently. So some of them got exposed to a whole new way of having a relationship with a spouse. I'd call him out. He'd be like, I'm not listening to her anyway. She's just my wife. It was good for me to be in there, though, because I'm not good at math. I struggled with math. I probably would have been in his remedial math class. In college, he was my remedial math teacher. I would go to class, and then we'd spend the afternoon redoing it so I could pass the class. And so it was, I would look at them, and I'm like, you guys, I'm with you. Like, I get lost, too. And I will tell the teacher, if I'm lost, I'm going to assume you're lost. And I'll just let the teacher know, hey, we have no idea what you just said. Like, that went right over all of our heads. So it was good to be in there. And maybe finally this year I'll know how to do translations because I don't get it.
Yeah, I understand.
Years, and now he's doing videos on it. I'm like, I still have no idea. Why are we even moving the shape on the coordinate plane? I don't want to.
Yeah, math was never my strong suit. It was much more of a English geek. Science. I loved science. Math was just kind of off to me, and which is odd because I like facts. I like things that, you know, are immutable, unchangeable, and math should have called to me. I can do it. That's like my middle son had problems with algebra. I can do algebra. I hate it, but I can do it. So I, helped him with it. But math just never called to me like I thought it would, given, my like for things that don't change. But Michael Strauss has a question maybe you two can answer. So what I want to know is, there is a public online school out there called K-12, which I had mentioned before. So why wasn't it an easy transition for kids to transition into that online school?
So K-12, I'll do the best with this I can. Okay. K-12 is an online public school that you have to be accepted to, and it is not developed in a way for kids to jump in the middle of a grading period, because there's no guarantee that everybody in the state of Indiana, even though we're teaching all the same standards, there's no guarantee that everybody in the state of Indiana is in the same place at the same time. So it's not set up for kids to jump in on whatever standard they're on. They follow a progression, and you can't just stick. So, like, I've got kids who are in both world history and U.S. history because they failed a semester or they transferred in at a weird time. So I see them, some of them I see a lot in the day. And I probably wouldn't be where every other teacher is in the state, and so you can't just plug them into an automated system that is going to need them to be at the same place to put them in. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, that's a good explanation.
In my brain and don't make sense to anybody else.
No, I can't tell you it made sense or not because I quit listening when she started talking. So as normal.
Okay. Look, I can tell you from a parent's perspective.
I think I'm out during quarantine.
Yeah, there you go.
Places to go.
I can tell you, Mike Strauss, from a parent's perspective, K-12 has a very, very different setup than online. The transition to online, at least from LaPorte, Michigan City, Northwest Indiana, they didn't use Chromebooks. It was purely a laptop / PC, setup. You needed a browser, you needed all these things, you needed logins and this and that. They transitioned from Blackboard to another service. And I will tell you that my experience with K-12 was initially positive, that turned to negative. It's a very different setup. And unless you're already in the system there's, like she said, there's absolutely no way to just jump into it because they're completely different, both where they're at instructionally and just the way the entire system is set up. So I hope that provides.
And it also it would have required every student in the state of Indiana to have internet access. And I know there's all those providers that were providing free access. And for some of us here in this corner of the state, it may be hard to understand. But I teach actually in Stark County. Oregon Davis is in Stark County, and it's huge farm country. I have kids who don't have internet access, not because they can't afford it, because literally no provider goes to where their house is located. So we have kids that every Thursday pick work up off of our lunch bus and turn in their work that day from the week before on the lunch bus, because there is no internet provider that provides internet service at their house. And you can get satellite internet, but if you've ever tried that is cost prohibitive. And satellite internet providers are not offering free services like cable providers were. And so that would be the other problem with using a K-12 system, is you've got some kids that are completely left out of that, or who, like my school provides iPads, Hobart provides Chromebooks, and you've got a different level of capability on those devices. There's things my kids can do at home on their Chromebooks that my students with their iPads can never do. And so there's an equitability issue that if you require that of every student in Indiana, it would have overloaded the K-12 system, but it also just wouldn't have been feasible for all students to do.
That's a great point too, is the fact that a lot of people don't think about it, especially being in, rural areas like Northwest Indiana, especially, close to Chicago, like we are. You don't think about the vast areas of Indiana that have zero access to internet at all. And the only access they might possibly have is, like you said, prohibitively high satellite providers that are not reliable in many cases. When the weather gets bad, it's like satellite TV. It kind of goes out, in and out, and it won't let you do what you need to do. A lot of people don't think about that. So that's a good little perspective there. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, I heard something about you had won awards at Manchester. Can you tell us about that?
I did. That was a really long time ago.
That's okay.
He probably remembers what they're for better than I do.
It's an important award.
What was mine? The outstanding student?
Senior year.
Senior year, yeah. So it was for, I had been involved in a lot of on-campus activities, and I had helped start a residence hall association. I had been.
I forgot about that one.
So I had been on the Senate, the school Senate, and I was involved just in all kinds of things. But the big one was I helped start the inaugural year of the Residence Hall Association and was the president. And we went to competition the first year we existed, and we won awards there. And so I got mine was outstanding student leader, right?
Outstanding student leader, senior year.
Yeah.
They only give it 2 awards.
Yeah. So that's what I won that for. That was the big one.
That's pretty awesome. It really is. Like, the other thing that I hear is you were really involved with Schwalm Hall, right? That's both you and Chris. But were you? Can you tell us about Schwalm Hall?
My involvement, and this is probably after I explain my involvement, where I'm going to cut out to go to Bible study, which will be good.
Okay.
Schwalm Hall is the all-boys dorm.
275 men.
275 guys and me. So we met when school started. I did not live there. I officially lived in the girls' dorm, except 1 year I lived in the co-ed dorm. But we met right away and became friends and started hanging out, and then started dating in September. So we met in August, started dating in September. And I just would always go over there and hang out. But they played cards in the lobby all the time. And I got involved with the guys who were playing cards, and he would go. I also had no care in the world for making it to my 8 a.m. classes. Like, didn't really see the need to be bothered with 8 o'clock classes. So he would go upstairs and go to the room and conk out for the night. And I'd be down in the boys' lobby till 2, 3 in the morning playing euchre and spades with all these guys, and then have to walk myself across campus in pitch black. And which was really great. I never watched really horror movies before I went home. We watched it one night, And then he doesn't even walk me back to my dorm after watching it. Yeah, 2 a.m, and I gotta hike myself across there in the pitch black. So, but yeah, no, I practically lived over there every minute that they would let me, and became quite the card shark. And yeah, until I finally had a professor who called him and told him I wasn't coming to my 8 a.m. class. And then this one starts showing up outside my dorm room and dragging me to class. It was the history of philosophy part 2. Because I minored in philosophy. I majored in psych and minored in philosophy. And so then he started taking me to class 4 days a week at 8 o'clock in the morning. And note for people, you should never in a million years take history of philosophy 1 or 2 at 8 a.m.
I think that is fantastic advice.
Horrible timing for a history of philosophy class. I'm just saying.
Yeah. One of the few that have been a good influence on people.
Right. It was a strange scenario when he was the good influence. But I spent most of high school skipping class, so it didn't dawn on me I should go to my college classes because I hadn't really gone to all my high school classes. So, and I tell my students that I was a horrible student, and I'm a good example of how not to do school. And I'm also a good example of how that can totally turn around because now I teach.
Yeah, so, there you go.
So I try to teach so that I would have liked being in my class. That's the goal, is that I would have actually wanted to go to my class, because that was very rare for all 4 years I was in high school, that I had a class I actually wanted to be in. So.
And of course, when Swamp Hall was where I lived, I had the bigger role under Swamp there, obviously.
All right, I'm going to go because my Bible study is starting. Y'all have a great night.
Okay, you as well. Thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with us, Sarah. It was a pleasure seeing you again, and we will continue to talk about you while you're gone.
I'm sure you will. Just remember that I'm not as awful as I sound when he talks about me.
I'm going to look at your Facebook post there and see what you set me up to next. But yeah, so
there we go.
Yeah, so I've actually was going to live in Schwalm Mall forever, and that's where I started off as Schwalm Mall was a horseshoe shape, so I was on Second North, and so I was a Second North building rep my first year there, and ended up doing tons of stuff with them. I've been doing some stuff around here lately where it kind of gets back into what I did at college. I don't think I didn't talk about any of this during my campaign run or anything. I just, I don't really do good about bragging about things I've done in the past or like that. When I actually was at Schwalm Hall, my freshman year, we started doing some stuff. And I got into a food drive setup where, like, freshman year we did a drive for Thanksgiving, and so like the freshman year we did a fundraiser drive where people donated money, and we got enough food and canned goods together where we actually delivered to the food pantry like 30 complete turkey dinners for Thanksgiving for people. Like, hey, that's pretty cool. And we started getting some other things involved like that going through. And my first 2 years at Manchester, I did a lot of volunteer work, a lot of help out with stuff. And it got to the point where my junior year, I actually got the job of the Office of Volunteer Services Director, which was an actual campus job that they hired someone to do. It wasn't a student, and I was the second person they ever hired a student to do that. And so I did a lot of volunteer activity and stuff like that, where, like, over the 4 years of at Manchester, we went from doing 30 turkeys at Thanksgiving to like 175 my senior year. We did 175. We're talking about complete dinner with, the gravy, mashed potatoes, corn, threw a pie in there, just all that kind of stuff. The amount of volunteer hours I had when I ran the Office of Volunteer Services, my job was to coordinate all volunteer activity for the College of Manchester. I did all, I had a staff of 4 people that I ran, and our job was to create events and to run all volunteer activities. My favorite one we did was the guys at Swamp Hall. We found a haunted prison that was like half an hour from our college, and 270 guys saying, hey, we need 40 guys to go down and help run this haunted prison for charity. Like, hang on, we get to go down and scare the crap out of people on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night? That's volunteer hours for this? And people are gonna, like, the guy that we did it for, like, he was so thankful for, again, you turn a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old guys off to a haunted hall saying, hey, you go, it was a four-story jail. And so, it was a courthouse, all that. So the 4 stories of an old building, they let us we ran free shop wanted to. And like, okay, so the first of the guy's like, hey, I'm buying you guys new TV for your dorm lobby. And they're like, they bought a new pool table. And like, the amount of money we raised for them, they were just so amazed by it. But again, a bunch of guys that was kind of really cool. Where
nice.
That's for the longest time, the award she won for the best senior year. The night she won that award, there were 2 awards they gave out in Manchester. They won for the best senior and the best 4-year, the best 4-year student. And so, it's the best of the year and then the best of 4 years. And so, when she won the first award for the best senior, I was like, that's really impressive. That's awesome. And then, I was really happy with that one. I used to actually hang her award in my classroom for a while. I was like, why do you have your wife's award in your room? Like, it's a freaking awesome award.
Right,
and then,
because you're proud of her.
Exactly. And then, so the second award they had for like the 4-year thing at Manchester, that one went through. They announced who won that thing. I can't remember who won it. I'm like, okay. Well, we got out there. We won one of the 2 awards. It's pretty cool. That's really good and going well there. And then the president of the college steps up the microphone like, it's like, well, for the first time ever, we did our little thing here, and the same person won both awards. And like, what is he talking about? And it's like, so if we can have Chris Wells stuff up here really quick. I'm like, what? The college has been around since the 1870s, and they're making a special award of me because they never had someone win before. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I don't think many people in this area know about that award. It hangs in my classroom with the note talking about you've been nominated for an award. It hangs in my classroom. I have it there. It's right above all 3 of my degrees. I have all my diplomas hanging up, and so it hangs right there with them. The kids can see stuff, but I don't tell them about what it is. Well, like, hey, one of the ones who really kind of talked to like, hey, that was a really cool time. It was really fun, and no one's like I'm bragging all the time about that one. But I'm the one who never get that award, though. I'm the one who never wins both. So, really
yeah,
cool.
That's really awesome, man. I think more people should hear about the stuff like that. The stuff that kind of makes you who you are, and the secret things you're really proud of. I don't want to do it all. Tell us about your brothers. You got kind of some famous brothers, right?
Well, I would say famous, infamous. I don't know. My brother Steve is the middle brother. He's I'll say if you look at my brother Joe and I, were both over 6'4". I'm 6'4". Joe's like 6'5", 6'6". Steve might be 6 foot tall, 5'11", maybe 6 foot tall. So with Dad being 6'2" and Joe and I both being huge, Steve, I've been bigger than he's 2.5 years older than I am. Mm-hmm. So I've been bigger than Steve a lot of my life because, I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. I'm a big guy. Right. Bigger than I am. And Steve was always like, 150 pounds, 6 foot tall. It's like, where'd you come from? But I have a kid like that now. My number 2 kid, Jonah, the 10th grader, he's barely 100 pounds and 5'9". He's a cross country runner. So that kid is skinny as can be. And it's like, so I guess that's where that came from. I don't know. But like, Steve is just, he's the one that we're closest in age and probably fought the most of anyone else because we're brothers. So that was one of those things that we fought a lot growing up. But he's the one that's a little more of a different. If you want to know all you know about Steve, one, he's an awesome mechanic. I always try to be on his good side because when I break a vehicle, I always love to be able to go over and say, "Hey, Steve, I did this again."
Right.
I hate having to do it all the time, but when you have that, great mechanic over there, something always nice to have. But if you want to see.
I'm not sure. Looks like we might have lost Chris here for a moment. Let me know in the comments here if he disappeared for you as well. I will send him another connection just in case. I don't know where we're having the, oh, there it is. He came back. There he is. Maybe.
Give it a second.
There we go. I think it's working now.
We back here or not?
Yeah, you're back.
Yep.
Maybe.
You're backstage.
You're backstage. Only the host can see you. We're still kind of.
No, you're added to the stream. Can you hear me?
You're on freeze frame. I'm on freeze frame. All children in my house, turn off your devices.
Oh, we lost him again. Okay. That's all right. We're going to keep working on it. No worries. We're not going to give up.
Are we good there, Dion? Or no?
We are good, I believe. All right. I have you on solo just for the moment so we can make sure you can kind of monitor and see how your connection is doing.
Am I going to be on here? Is it good?
Yeah, you're on. Yep.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
No problem.
I'm about ready to grab my cell phone and start using cell data and see if that works better. I don't know. We good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, good. I don't know what happened there.
There we go. That's all right. There's the
my
internet
wife
is
to turn off the
stream. So.
Again, that's not it.
Because you're on a free screen for me, Dion. Am I still getting through to people?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
So I see the time is running at least. So, but yeah, you asked about my brothers. So yeah, Steve. All you need to know about Steve and how he is, besides being a great mechanic, is just go on YouTube and search Steve Showman Wells. That's all I need to see, because my brother is a little crazy. If you watch that, you will see Steve jump a full-size school bus over like 15 vehicles, and one of them being a motorhome. That's my brother. So that's kind of, when people I do an intro to all the students beginning the year about who I am and what I do and all that kind of stuff, and introduce myself, and like my big ones I always do like what injuries I've had. And when I introduce, like I show pictures of my family, I'm like, so if you want to know about Steve, here's all you need to know. And I showed a video clip of him jumping in the bus. I'm like, that's all you need to know about Steve. And then the kids are like, oh my God, your brother did that? And I'm like, you know, the funny part is my brother fixes all the buses you to school. And so if you can think about the test drive of the bus.
Nope, I think we might have lost them again, unfortunately. Looks like we might have a couple of internet issues going on. Let me know if on mine everything is okay. If you can hear me all right. It's the same link, so hopefully he'll join us again soon. All right, good deal. Yeah, if you, for those of you who didn't catch it, Steve Showman Wells, Steve the Showman Wells. If you look that up, he jumps buses over cars, and he's also the mechanic for the buses. So that's kind of awesome. Until we get him back, I'll let you know a little bit more. His dad, Chris's dad, Chuck, was a steel worker at Inland Steel after he got out of the Air Force. So he knows about the issues of the region. He is a Hobart City Council member. I don't know why I have such an issue saying that, but I do. And it looks like he's back. So
I don't know what's going on here. Sorry.
That's all right.
So at least you're up, going really good now. So
there we go. Yeah, I think whatever stress was on the internet is reduced now. So who knows?
I'm hoping so, but I don't think so now, because you went your frozen screen on me again, so I see your face just stuck in a nice little mode there. So hopefully I don't get kicked out again here. I turned my phone where I'm doing a live stream at least onto cellular data, so that can go that way.
Okay.
Maybe I can talk my wife into turning her phone really quick onto the cellular data as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I'm not sure. Looks like you might have frozen up a little bit.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows?
So
Well, we'll play it by ear. Let's see what happens.
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to move to my phone really quick, maybe, and see if I can
That's
just
all
go
right.
from my.
Yeah. And we lost him again. That's all right. That's okay. We will give you some more information. He actually won. He is the first Republican to win that seat in over 10 years. If anybody knows who the last Republican was before Chris won, let us know. Let us know in the comments. It's been a while, for sure. It's been at least 10 years. I will let him tell you more about his kids, but he was actually an umpire, which is actually really cool. This year is his 30th year as a Little League volunteer umpire. He started that because his dad was an umpire, and it was a good way for him to hang out with his dad. He has been to 3 regionals for Little League, and he was nominated to work in the Little League World Series 10 times. 10 times. Oh, there we go. He's sideways, but that's okay.
Am I sideways? Uh-oh. Is that better?
There we go.
There you go. I grabbed my cell phone and went to
No
that
problem.
instead. There you go. So see what I can do there. So yeah, I don't know. The computer's not going that well for me. So I used the better computer, I thought. I used my wife's MacBook Air Pro that the school gave her, but hey, whatever. So
Yeah, that's all right.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know where you left off at. We were talking about what you're going through with I'll say talking about my brothers. I know it's like my brother Joe is he's a police officer for Munster. But
Oh wow. Okay.
he's also lived a very fun life of where he got his degree in radio and TV, and he's actually done a lot of video. Like he used to do all the if you watch Channel 3 cable back in the 90s and 2000s and watch the Friday night football game of the week or watch the basketball games of the week, you were listening to my brother Joe call the games. You know, he was the guy who did all that kind of stuff. And then when Paul Condry and him started the Regional Radio Sports Network, which is now called Region Sports Network, my brother Joe started that with him, and they would call all the games together. So Joe did a lot with that kind of stuff. So, you know, they've been both very involved in a lot of stuff here. Joe and I just recently started officiating high school football together. I've been doing high school football for, I don't know, 15, 17 years. And so I got a chance where I stopped doing high school football during the year I had my back surgery. It just was one of those things where just I had my back surgery late in the summer, and I wasn't ready for the year to start, so I dropped off my crew. And the year I dropped off my crew, the crew didn't stay together the year I was off it. So then, like, okay, the next year I didn't have a crew, so I wasn't gonna work it. And then I had someone contact me like, hey, one of our guys got injured. You still got your license? Want to come be come work for us? Like, sure. So I went out there, and the next year, like, hey, we're gonna make our own crew up. We just need another guy. I'm like, let me make a phone call. So I called my brother Drew. I'm like, hey, let's go. Let's get this back, and let's do this. We haven't worked games as in football. We didn't work together ever.
Right.
We both worked baseball together with my dad, and so it was always one of my funnest ones. I was the younger guy, so like I started at 15 umpiring baseball, and we were working a tournament over in Illinois when I was like 16, and I had home plate. Joe was on third base, Dad was on first base, and the coach looked and said, "What if an umpire obviously blows the call? Can a home plate umpire overrule him?" And my dad's like, well, if a umpire obviously blows the call, we'll eject the coach. As for overruling, his big brother's on third base and his dad's on first. What do you think he's going to do? Like, there you go. That's all you need to know.
Right.
Not going to deal with. So, yeah. So.
Paul has some information. He says Chris beat out John Brezick for D5 Council, an area of our city that needed real representation.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying my best to get there, but I'm 103 days, 104 days into my term here, and we've spent the last 30 days of it in quarantine. It's kind of hard to represent people when you can't leave your house. I can't knock on their doors. I can't do stuff. I feel really bad. There's a few people that have some issues they want me to take care of and they want me to talk about for them. And it's like, I can't go to, we're not having meetings, so I can't go to a meeting. Hi, Jonah.
Hi, Jonah.
See, that's, told them to stay away, but there you go. So
Yeah, that's kids.
So yeah, so he had to walk through there anyway. He couldn't walk to the other side of the kitchen table.
Of course.
He had to walk this side,
Right.
He has a 4.2 GPA, but he can't figure out two sides of a rectangle, That's how it goes. What can we say?
Right.
So, but yeah, I feel there's one lady who, I don't think I returned her call because she was sent me an angry message on one day because she's like, "You didn't return my call." I'm like, "I didn't." It's like, well, I can go to my phone right now and show you the pictures that I took of your issue. I didn't realize I didn't return your call. I want to go knock on her door and apologize. Like, I didn't return your call, but I can't go to her door and knock on her door because social distancing. I'm like, I almost want to go there like, "I'm sorry, I'll tell you, but look, I have pictures of what your issue is. I want to take up when we have our next Board of Works meeting and talk about," because she has an honest issue. I mean, it's, she lives by a gas station that doesn't follow the rules about having their dumpster enclosed with a fence area. And so wind blows, the garbage can open and all the garbage goes into the yard.
That's something that a lot of people don't think about are some of the ordinances. Now, some of them absolutely are ridiculous and they're in order, blown up to get more money or whatever. But there are legitimate reasons for some of these ordinances, like you said. Having it in a fenced-in area is so that the garbage doesn't blow into residents' yards.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are some things that make sense. I mean, again, my biggest thing is if there's a rule we're not going to enforce, I don't want the rule.
Right.
So if we can't enforce it, if we're not going to enforce it, then why do we have the rule? But other than that, if we have rules, then we need to enforce them.
And otherwise, why have it?
Exactly. And so it's like, and I look at this one like, hey, she lives in a part of town where, if this was happening, anywhere else, people would probably get really upset and say, "Hey, we need to get this taken care of." And that's just, so I'm like, hey, as soon as we get back on there, I'm like, hey, you're one of, because of course, just because the city stopped, we can't have meetings, but it doesn't mean people don't have issues anymore. I get people calling, complaining about stuff all the time, like, hey, this is an issue, this is an issue. I'm like, I get you.
Right.
I can't. I had a guy call me yesterday on my way to my illegal haircut. So I had to complain about stuff. I had to do
your black market haircut.
Yeah. So I had to go get a haircut finally. I mean, my beard was out of shape, my hair was out of shape. My man,
I'm with you.
My Ivan was, they shut down Ivan's shop on him. Like, we can't go there. How does he survive? I'm like, well, the guy is the one guy I can trust to cut my hair really well because he's done a great job. So yeah, I'm gonna drive to his house and give him some money to keep, because I want that business coming back.
That's right.
Yeah. So hey, I don't care if the mayor of Chicago tells me to stay home. She can get a haircut, I can get a haircut.
That's right. That's absolutely right. That's another thing too that a lot of people, and they're seeing it more and more, is the rules don't apply to them. They make these rules and they know that they're going to break them when they make them. So it's nice to see that there are real representatives for some of these cities out there, which, that's what I'm trying to do for the entire district. But a lot of people don't understand right now yes, we're locked in our houses, but locked is a little extreme, but they want us to be locked in our houses, but all this, no city business is getting done. No state business is getting done. Everything's just kind of on hiatus, right?
Right.
Which has to make it difficult for you because you have angry residents that are like, you said you were going to do this.
That's one of the things I ran on. I was going to have a meeting every other month and have people actually sit and talk and say what issues they have in the town. Like, hey, we were going to go meet at a restaurant in town and say, hey, I'm not going to buy you all food, but, come, sit down at a table at the restaurant, we'll get a little side room going there. And when we do that, then, leave an empty spot at your table and I'll get up and walk table to table and sit down. Like, what's your issue? What do you want to talk about? And just, go through and learn stuff and, what's bothering you, what's not bothering you, and just have some links up like that where I can't do that right now. And plus, there's not a lot of restaurants in my area of the district. You know, we're the northwest corner of Hobart. We're by
Okay.
Gary. You know, we're by 65 and 6 is where our main spot is. So, you
Okay.
know, the 6 or 7 restaurants that are in our district, I would love to make sure they get people coming into them, and everyone goes to 30, and because the mall is ours. It's
Mhm.
District 1. It's Mr. That's Mark's district there, so he would love for us to come down to his district and keep his businesses in. But I would like to keep, had lunch day at Diner's Choice, went and spent my money from those guys so I can actually have them stay in my district.
Right.
I want that. I want them to be around when this is all over. I want, to have people that still serve food in my district. It's nice to be able to walk 3 blocks to a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
rough right now for all these small mom and pop places, especially. They're having a heck of a time of it, and it's good that we can do what we can to help them, but one person's not gonna keep them in business. Unfortunately, we need more people rather than swinging through the drive-through. Set up a curbside pickup or something for your local restaurant, whatever your favorite is.
That's one of the things I'm about trying to get going next is because like I just got done doing a fundraiser where we had. I said, if I get 25 people, or if I get 40 people to donate $25, I can buy a half a cow and donate that meat to the food pantry. And I'm not talking about just all ground beef. I'm talking about, hey, cut the meat up like you would for a normal person. Get me my ribeyes, get me my rump roast, get me my whatever, cut up like you normally do it. And then can you imagine if you're one of the 150 families that we have that get food supplied by the Hobart Food Pantry every week? Can you imagine you go there one week like, oh yeah, we threw 2 ribeyes in there for you. Like, what? You gave me ribeyes? I thought it'd be really kind of neat to do. And shockingly enough, 7 days after I announced that, I had my 40 people with my $25 basically where I can buy the cow. And I was really close, and someone contacted me like, how far off are you? I'm like, I need 3 more people. I'm like, well, I'll donate. I'll be the 3 people then. And the guy actually sent me a check for $100, not 75. I'm like, that's even better than that. He rounded up. I'm like, okay. So I love that. And so I'm like, okay,
that's
great.
amazing.
I made a little post about, I used my Bitmoji of spiking a football. Like, we made our goal, we got our final. And people saw like, whoa, time out. I didn't hear about this. And then 90 minutes later, I got, I'm up to $2,300 to buy a full cow, not just a half cow. They're like, what are you talking about? I call the food pantry like, that half cow is going to work on. Yeah, we have a full cow bought now. Like, you have what? Like, yeah, so all I got to do now is I call the next day and set up. And she's like, I want the steak stand to people. I want, and she's like, we give people the necessities they need, but that's a treat. And people that go to the food pantry don't get a treat. So like, my wife told me the other day, she's like, you need to go to the store and go shopping and buy groceries for the food pantry. Because I was going through like, okay, what chips do my kids eat? What breakfast cereals do they eat? Hey, these donuts are on sale. I'm going to take care and do that and go through and so I just went through and I bought all the chocolate treats that we have here, and I just went through and bought all those things. Like, what the heck? There you go. I just got called out, by the way. I had one of my actually my assistant, one of our dean of students who was a teacher across the hall from me for a few years, just called me out. She's like, I made your Bitmoji because I don't have the common sense how to make that. She's like, I got you some of that. And so yeah, she did. She was my partner in crime for years. I'm very, very bad about certain things, and there's a thing that goes on in my school, like, well, if Wells does it, and they always kind of give me like, if we get Wells to do this, or hey, well, Wells hasn't been fired yet, so they kind of go that way with me, and just, like, I do a few things, like the year I had my class get 800 balloons filled up, and we filled the principal's office with balloons for her birthday. That was a fun time. And of course, my partner in crime, there's like, hey, I bet you wouldn't do it. Oh, don't bet me that. Let's have fun. So yeah, that's my partner in crime who called me out there for a second. So
That's good. So Michael he says a serious question. What do the citizens need to do in Hobart to keep your cops and city officials accountable? They seem to like violating citizens' rights on a regular basis.
And see, I'm sorry, my brother's a police officer, and I do not go against my police officers or my firemen, and just it's one of those spots where a lot of people will go through and say they like to do this stuff on a regular basis. I'm sorry, 99 point whatever percent of your police officers are great all the time and do their job. And I know people say like they're infringing on their. I get you, but I'm sorry. I understand people think that officials are being rough on them or whatever, but I'm not going there. All I know is I make that phone call to my police officers and say, hey, I have an issue, and they're there. I've never had. I mean, I would like to have better enforcement of certain things. I would like to have, in Hobart, we have code enforcement where if you call, they will come take care of it. I would like to have the code enforcement actually drive around and enforce without us having to call, because that would be one of those things where I don't like to call my neighbor and say, hey, I would kind of wish that people would do that job without us having to do that. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to ever go down the road saying that our police officers or firefighters or anything like that just are that bad. I don't think they are. If we find one that is, like, the same way I would say to the teacher, if we find one that isn't doing that part, they need to be fired. That's where, as a union teacher, I kind of get some stuff saying, hey, there are people that we keep in jobs that I would fire in a heartbeat if I owned a business. And if we find a guy who's not doing the job right, we get rid of them. Like cut out the weakest cell in the cancer and get rid of it and get done with it. So if we have that bad cop who does something, okay, fine. And I know we've had some issues with the parts we take care of, and I think that's where we need to be very strict on saying, hey, I want us to have the best police force in Indiana. So if we got guys who aren't going to cut it, that's where all the other police on the force need to say, hey, this guy is not up to our standards, and we hold chief and the rest of those guys responsible for getting rid of those people. If they're not, then we get rid of chief. I think we need to hold them to high standards and say, hey, this is what we expect from you.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of a part of. If we have an issue where a police officer has done something that's obviously wrong, I'm going to be the one up there saying, hey, this is not what we expect. And I'm kind of hoping that the rest of the people who are also on council would say, we expect better from our people. We need them out of there. I know there's been some cases where they've not been out of there, and that can be kind of frustrating. I don't know all the details on this stuff there, but I know everyone can go through and do history search and stuff like that. But, I work with some SROs at schools, and I'm sorry, the guys I work with, and I love the guys I work with. I had Clemens, I had, we have Officer Jimenez with us, Monty White's with us, and those guys are just awesome guys. And I'll lay down for them 8 days a week. I know SROs in our schools will lay their life on the line for those students 8 days a week. And, I'm also sure that there's other cops in this town who go through and do stuff. And unfortunately for me, I've been teaching 22 years. There's a lot of my former students who are officers as well. I actually got away with a speeding ticket the one day because of that reason. Got pulled over, and the kid's like, you gave me a break once, Mr. Wells, so slow your butt down. I'm like, thanks. I'm glad I was nice to you because you had me 10 over. You had me. It's like, but yeah, so yeah. But
Paul agrees that you need far better code enforcement. And Cooley Priestley said, if you need help with fundraisers, let them know.
There you go. I say Cooley's a good photographer, by the way. If you need a photographer to look up the Cooley, he takes all their city pictures for us, and yeah, he's a good photographer. So, but yeah, I was thinking about I might try to do one next where I think it would be a great thing to do. I was thinking about doing a again food pantry type thing where trying to get people to donate like a $20 gift card to a local family-owned restaurant in Hobart. Like, okay, go get a $20 gift card from a local restaurant in Hobart and donate it to the food pantry. Because you can imagine if you can't afford to get food, really, having someone give you a $20 gift card to JJ's Pizza or to Mr. T's Pizza or to, Bricky Euro downtown, or, I would love to see, like, we have some really good restaurants downtown, like Granger's by the Clock Tower you can imagine those guys like, hey, it's a barbecue restaurant. Like, okay, I got $20 to go get myself a slab of barbecue ribs or a brisket, and I can't afford to buy this stuff my own. I would love to see people donate like that, because then, one, it keeps those mom and pop shops in business. During this time, because you give them a gift card now, and they're getting $20 into their register now that they can keep people on their books, and then on top of that, and then someone who doesn't have something getting $20 to go spend on. That'd be really kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, so, I agree. I think that would be pretty awesome.
That came to my mind the other day, so I'm not sure. I haven't set it up yet, but it'd be kind of fun to do. And of course, anybody can do that. I mean, anyone could just simply go through and be like, hey, I'm going to buy a gift card from this person. I do have one lady who's I have a lady who contacted me yesterday, like, hey, I'm going to give you $100 every 2 weeks to go buy food for the food pantry. I can't get out and do it, so you go out and buy food for the food pantry for me and donate. I'm like, love you. Hopefully when we get a chance to vote again, you'll vote for me again because you live in my district. Right. But I love the fact that you're going to donate $100 every 2 weeks to the food pantry. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's very cool. So
Cooley says they have ideas for that. So great. That's good. That's good.
When I went to the phone instead, I lost the comment section. So I'm glad you're pointing those out, because I don't see comments anymore. So
yeah, that's okay. So we got another one from Strauss. He says, really, well, it's sad to hear. So you are saying it's okay for your city cops to steal people's cars because they don't like them. It's okay for them to stalk people because they don't like them. It's okay for them to lie on court documents. I have proof on all of it. And then his follow-up comment is, 2 of your officers, I can say, are good. Most are not.
So I'm going the opposite. I think if you probably go in the police force of 72 people, I think you'll find 71 that are awesome. You might find that one bad because, okay, he's saying he has proof of that. If you have proof, then it's simple. You take it to court and fight the process. I mean, if again, cancer needs to be cut out. If you have proof that there's a cancerous person, then we need that person gone.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to be someone who sits there. I mean, I don't call people out and besmirch people on the internet unless I have something there for. I mean, I try not to get in arguments on Facebook either. It's where I usually like, okay, I'm not going to be there. So just one of those things. I'm not.
Yeah. Well,
I'm more laid back. My wife might be the one who will fight with you. That's why I think don't do that. Don't. Yeah,
well, as I can speak as a former correctional officer, you get the ones that make the paper. The ones that make the paper are the ones that give the image out there to people that are like, oh, they're all like this, or the majority are like this. And I can speak from experience. It's the tiny, tiny minority, like the one person out of the class of several hundred who just is a screw up for whatever reason. They just, can't deal with regular society. The power goes to their head, or they need the money, so they're going to bring things in. There's, a variety of things that they can and do, but it's the very tiny minority, at least as my experience, correctional officers, and I have family that are police officers who were, point out in their experience, again, the tiny minority are the ones that everyone sees, the ones that people remember. And it's unfortunate, because there are millions of police officers, firefighters, first responders, correctional officers across the country that do their jobs on a day-to-day basis that don't get the press.
And it's a thankless job a lot of times. It's kind of like teaching. It's a thankless job where, like, my brother Joe and I always tease him the same way, and kind of tease me back the same way of, goal one when you go to work is not to be on YouTube. Don't be that person who gets recorded, gets put on YouTube and looks like an idiot. Don't be that person.
Right.
And the second part, is, come home at the end of the day. Don't get killed on your shift. Come home.
Yep.
And that's where, I teach right down the hall from Officer Clemens' wife. And, he's also a Hobart Township trustee. And so, like, he's an elected official. He's a police officer. He volunteered coaching in our school system. And I get some of those guys like that. I'm like, look at the stuff they do. And he's not paid enough for all he does. And there's other cops like that the same way where, it's amazing. You go down to the Hobart Little League field, how many police officers are actually helping coach basketball teams or baseball teams or, Pop Warner football where, they're doing their job and helping out with their kids' sports. And, so again, love for a lot of those people. Because again, though, if you find one who's not going to do the job right, then we bring the documents up, we take them in, we don't want that one person. I want us to have the best police force, the best fire department, the best everything we can possibly have. So if you honestly have, if you have documents like that, take them up and take care of them.
Yeah.
That's the simple part there.
Cooley said, I have never ran into any Hobart cops I did not like. Michael Strauss said, not trying to argue, he's making a point. I can assure you Hobart is corrupted, but don't worry, all those instances are going to court. And Mark Copel followed up with, our chief has no problem calling someone on the carpet if it's necessary. If you have an honest concern, don't be afraid to call the chief. And I think that's a good point.
Yeah. I'll say, because, I'm not going to be that person who does that kind of stuff over, and it's Rick Zormeyer actually used to be the president of Hobart Little League. So, I know the guy pretty well, and he seems to be on the ball with everything else like that. So I'm hoping he would do the same thing. So, yeah. My working relationship with him has always been decently well from me being an umpire. So, again, I'm used to being a hated person as an umpire, teacher, husband.
Right.
I'm used to people not liking me. So,
I'm with you.
That's
Yeah.
one of the jokes I make at school. I tell the kids, I'm used to not being liked. I teach math. I have a wife, and I'm an umpire. I'm not liked by anybody. I get this. So being mad at me doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, Cooley said, by the way, I do great campaign photos. We need to exchange information. Just look me up.
Well, again, he does great campaign photos. When you have a face for radio, the photo doesn't help out that much.
Right.
Actually, my Facebook link, my Facebook photo from my personal Facebook page is a picture Cooley took.
Oh, okay.
So my picture,
it looks good.
So that's actually Cooley took that picture. So yeah. So
Cooley said, do not worry, we still love you.
I hope he has better digital imagery for me where he can actually let me cover that bald spot in the beard.
Right.
Just cut the beard off. So yeah. So had to go to the summer beard for a little bit there now. So yeah. So
hey, you have to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I lost where we're at here. I'm sorry. So
that's okay.
Hey,
that's all right. Yeah, I like it when people get involved in the comments section. We got Michael Strauss and Mark Copel kind of going back and forth a little bit, which you guys should take it all, take it into Messenger, get that ironed out. Remember, Michael Strauss will be on tomorrow night as well, and you can feel free to jump into his and ask him, your questions. He's actually running for the same position I am. I have to make it past the primary. He doesn't have any Libertarian Party primary challengers, so he is going to go to the general. He's the Libertarian candidate for District 1. I am Republican candidate for District 1, and you can learn more at dionbergeron.com. But we're here to learn about Chris. Tell us about teaching. First of all, what made you decide to run for city council as a teacher? You're looking at what's going on, and you said, what made you decide to run for the office?
Actually, my neighbor kept on harassing me. Those who know my neighbor Gene really well, he kept on harassing me, going through and complaining about stuff. And yeah, I grew up 3 blocks away from Gene. We grew up 3 blocks away from each other. We moved to the same street right down from the house from his mom. We moved next door to each other, where I was there first and he moved in next. So I've known the guy for 40 some years, and now he lives next door to me. And we've been friends for 40 some years, and I complained to him a lot about things, and he complains to me a lot about things. And he kept on going through hey, you keep complaining about this. You should do something about it. You should do something. You should do something. You should do something. Like, dude, it's like, if I didn't have a stroke, I would run. I was like, yeah, I'm not a politician. That's not me. I'm not going to be someone who does that kind of stuff. I'm not a politician. Not. He's like, well, that's what people need. They need a real person, not a politician. I'm like, I'm not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. And with, like, I don't know, I let the deadline go by, so I couldn't file. I'm like, oh, I didn't file, so let's have whoever they run against, the guy who's our District 5 guy, we'll have whoever runs against him to vote for instead of the guy we don't like, who's not really what we want. And then no one ran against him. He was running unopposed. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. So now, like, okay, I'm not going to put up for 4 more years of calling a guy to say, because, like, we would call and complain about stuff, and he would never return a call. And so one of my former students actually is the District 2 rep from Hobart. So we called him the one day, like, hey, we're having an issue with this. Or we'd call the mayor, and so we'd call other people to get our issue taken care of because he wouldn't return our calls. And so I was like, okay, he's going to be back on. So if he's going to be back on, be our person, we need to find a way around him. And so I found out what it took to actually run, and said, okay, I'm going to run then. And that was one of those spots where, like, didn't think I was going to do it. Didn't tell my wife I was going to do it, which was kind of rough, because she's like, "What do you mean you got yourself nominated and you're going to run?" Like, yeah.
You see, what had happened was,
yeah, it's like,
right.
I know you're the history teacher, and I know you're the one who does a bunch of political stuff, and because, like, my wife watches political stuff the way most people watch baseball. She's really into it. Yeah. So she's like, I would have run. I'm like, yeah, by the way, I'm already on the ballot. It's going to happen here. So yeah, it was one of those things. Yeah. So.
Well, Paul backs it up. He says, John how do you say it? Brezik. John Brezik was never seen by those he was meant to serve, according to Paul.
That's the thing where people would say about him, and where he's involved with the county politics. He's the head of the Democratic precinct organization in Hobart. He's really high up with a lot of stuff and that's where I kind of go through and give the difference of some things, where I kind of said, when I was talking with Spencer yesterday, I kind of said, the difference that we have is some people feel that they're in this job to take care of people in their district. Mm-hmm. They're here to serve people. And other people feel it's owed to them because they put their time in, they put their years in, and they're owed this now. And, when I first ran, I was told by him, how dare you run against me? You know the good I do for our city. I'm like, wow, that was, I do know the good of it. I've lived in District 5, where the area is District 5 now. I've lived here for basically 45 years. Yeah, if you take off the 4 years I went to Manchester, and the 3 months I moved out to my grandma's house after she passed away to fix her house up, I've been, we got my grandma's house ready to sell, and then we came back to Hobart. Yeah, we lived there and fixed up, and then got ready to go. So I've been in District 5 my whole life. So so I kind of led through there, like, hey.
Yeah. So I think out of everybody, you would kind of know what's going on with the district, and who's actually serving the district and who isn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Paul made the comment, Sarah and I agree on many issues, especially conservative topics and more freedom-based.
Hey, Sammy, can you bring my phone charger to me? Sorry.
Your phone died.
Well, it was plugged in and someone stole my phone charger. Not saying who, but bring me a charger cord for my phone, okay? Thank you, Sammy. That's my youngest. I plugged my phone in for a little bit because I was like, hey, I actually know where it's in the kitchen, Sammy. It's in the kitchen. There you go. I had to think about that, so I can plug into the computer I'm not using right now.
The real uncensored Chris Wells.
Yeah, there you go. I want you plugged into Mom's computer so I can then charge. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Going on the fly here so I can go through.
Nice.
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm going to put my hand across my screen. That way I don't.
Holy crap.
Step back, Sammy.
Hi, Mark. Mark, I appreciate that. Mark said the first message he said was YouTube live viewers are up to 181 now. He sent some subs over. 271. Now we're up to 374. 362 from YouTube. So
Holy
That
cow.
is incredible. Look at that.
Okay, that's that's
It's not like you're on the
that's
spot or anything.
that's crazy. Yeah. That's one of the things, being a teacher, you figure I'm okay talking in front of people. I don't like talking in front of people. I'm a
Oh,
math teacher
really?
for crying out loud. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I do like to talk. That's who I am. My wife's like, my wife is the introvert who wants to be, left alone most of the time, and I'm the one who will go out and talk to people. So yeah. So
Yeah. Cooley says, I see a reality show coming.
if I walk through the house and you saw all the holes in the doors and the drywall where I'm not fixing, like, I'm not fixing any more holes until the 4 boys move out. I'm done. I'm done repairing. As long as the bathroom door is not broken, we're good. The rest of them, who cares? So yeah. That's rough. So, but yeah. So as I didn't expect to run, didn't want to run, and kept on complaining to my neighbors, like, there's only one way to fix it. If you're not going to run, don't complain. If you're not going to run, don't complain. I'm like, dang it. He kept on using my argument, where I use the argument all the time. People, if you're not going to do something about it, don't complain. And so my neighbor kept on using that against me, like, you're complaining and you're not going to do anything about it. You have 22 years of teaching in Hobart, 30 years as a volunteer Little League official. All the stuff you do, people know you have name recognition. You have a chance. I'm like, oh, holy crap, 529 people. So yeah. So
we're up to 716 on YouTube.
Holy crap. So I'm gonna get myself in trouble probably here somewhere. I'm waiting for the phone call to come from the mayor, like, you said this wrong here, and like,
right.
Yeah,
that'll be all right.
I respect our mayor, so I always worry that he'll call me and like, you said this the other day. I'm like, oh, because one of my old baseball coaches actually, I said something during the campaign, and he ran the city street department, and I said something that wasn't quite nice to our city street department, I guess, and he was mad at me. He's like, he called me up like, oh, I'm sorry, John, didn't mean to. Had nothing but respect for the guy. He's like, you misspoke and said this. I'm like, well, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, I was at least smart to marry up. Give me some credit there at least.
There you go.
If I screwed up, let me know where I screwed up. He's like, well, you said this. I'm like, all right, so it was stupid. I made a bad comment. You got me. I said dumb things. I'm not a politician. I'm just someone who, I'm a guy who, went to, got tired one day and said, that's it, I'm going to run. And I mean, honestly, if I never in politics again, I'm happy with that. I don't need to be someone who's been in politics for 30 some years. And I mean, I'm really enjoying my time. I'm learning tons of stuff. I didn't realize how much I didn't know about how city government worked. And I get kind of frustrated now with people because the same thing I did wrong. Like, hey, why aren't people going to city council meetings? And why aren't people going to their board of works meeting? Why aren't, it's like, this is where they're making a decision about how your tax money is being spent. And nobody shows up. It's like, we're lucky at 5 or 6 people there. And until I started to decide to run, I'd never been to one myself. It's like, it's annoying. I can't believe that's like, these people determine how your city's going to be run, and no one shows up.
No. And, I will say this. I've seen, a lot of these that have been recorded. I've showed up to a couple, and they're just so incredibly boring. It's just so mind-numbing. And I think that's a big part of why. But you know what? I am starting to see more and more people that are taking it upon themselves to not only run for office, but to show up at these meetings and say, hey, we're going to hold you accountable. We're going to say that, we're tired of this. We're tired of being told what to do by out of touch, rich politicians who have no idea what it's like to be us, right?
And that's where, I'll get to myself later. I was joking around the one day when we had the hailstorm, people like, oh, the hailstorm came through and it's on a dent vehicles. People are going to fall. I'm like, okay, I have an 87 Dodge plow truck. I have a 98 Honda Civic. My wife drives. I have a 99 Suburban, and my oldest boy drives my 07 F-150. It's like, I don't have a vehicle that's within 13 years of, all my vehicles are 13 years older. My main truck, I drive the Dodge. That's the one I would drive all the time now. And that's like, okay, that's an 87. I was 13 years old when that thing was built. It's like, it's 30 some years old. It's just, I'm not someone who comes from tons of wealth. I mean, we do our best as two teachers to take care of, the four boys we have. And, one day we're going to have a 2010 vehicle or a 2020. It might be 2030. It's one of those things where I'm not that guy people look at saying, you're just some rich politician. And Mark's harassed me there. Mark's not the same way either. He's the same kind of part where, we're real people who just decided it's time to serve. It's time to serve our city. It's time to do something. Mark probably has the same kind of story where something got into his part where he wanted to serve because he thinks he can do a better job than someone else. And that's where I get the same kind of part where it's like, I'm tired of people saying, well, my dad was an elected official, so I'm, my dad was, my grandpa was, or I've been here, so I'm groomed for this.
Right. Entitled to it. Because they truly believe they are. They believe they're entitled to it.
And that's where, I'll tell you right now, reading some of the stuff that you have to read for this stuff, all the reading, I'm a math person, reading all the stuff they send me and we have a Dropbox, they put stuff in, trying to read everything in there, like, oh my God. And all the whereas this, whereas that, I'm like, I don't understand with this. I'm not used to reading that kind of stuff. It's like, I kind of look at my wife and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Can you break this down to normal person English for me here?
Right.
So I can understand what this is saying almost. It's like, wow.
That's a really good point because it's actually been, Paul pointed out, Tommy, cough, cough. Look, it doesn't need to be that way. We have all of these lawyers in Congress, right? All these lawyers, and all they do is they take, and not just Congress, but, state level and up. But they take these laws and they pack them and make them as convoluted as possible so that the ordinary voter, when they go to read through this, right, they get lost, they get tired. Who has time to go through 1,100, 1,200 pages of legislation and figure out what all of this stands for? That's the politician's job, the representative's job. But nobody's doing that. None of our politicians are actually telling the people what this stuff stands for, what it is, what it's supposed to be for. 891 is okay. I appreciate that. Paul says it's like reading IGA bills. Yeah, I agree. We're ending up with all these lawyers in Congress and representing us and packing this stuff so full of convoluted phrases and stuff so that we have I can read through it, you can read through it, we can figure it out, but we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to spend 3, 4, 5, 12 hours reading through this garbage so we can figure out what it's supposed to say or do.
Yeah, I kind of wish that some of the stuff would be like, hey, it's 1 to 2 pages. That's it. What's the nuts and bolts here? Let's get it figured out. I know some things have to be more like, when we look at our city budget, we spend millions of dollars as a city. Right. That has to be a little bit bigger than that, but it'd be nice to see a lot of stuff like, hey, this is simple. This is what we are covering here. This is what it's for. And, instead of having all those, when we had our last thing about just lost it. I just lost my train of thought on that part. But like I got sent like a rough draft of something we were going to try to pass. I read them like, whereas this, whereas that, whereas I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to put your whereases in there. I'm like, so I had to kind of go through and teach myself that, okay, these are legal requirements to put stuff in here. And it's like, yeah, never known that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
that's what I mean is it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to have all of the legalese, right? The legalese that causes a document that would be 1 or 2 pages to turn into 25 or 30 pages. Unfortunately, it's become expected even. A short bill, they're afraid of it. They don't want to do anything like that because it's too easy for the people to look at it and go, oh, we know what this means, right?
Yeah. And again, that's when they talk about the $1,200 toilet that was, or $1,200 coffee cup. It's like, where did that get in there? Well, it was in here. Like, that's kind of rough. That's where, at least in the city part of it, when you're in city government, at least it's, smaller, easier, kind of go through and look at stuff where, thank God, our city seems to be running pretty well on stuff where we can cover stuff and talk about stuff, but there's still stuff like trying to update and have, trying to redo 69th Avenue, trying to get some new factories that come over there. I mean, that kind of stuff, the documents involved in there. Oh my gosh. I came home the one night with my wife. I'm like, I had to sign my first non-disclosure agreement. I have a non-disclosure. I can't tell people about something. This is so cool. I was like, super geeky on that one. It was kind of
right.
But all the stuff involved, and didn't realize. I mean, again, I see how they make sausage now, so I kind of understand some stuff a little bit better now. It's like, right. Oh, look at that. There's more involved in this than I thought there was. But again, I have. I can figure this stuff out. I have a degree to teach math.
Mm-hmm. You're not a dumb guy, right?
Education. I have a principal license. I can figure this stuff out. Just didn't realize what it all was until I'm here. It's like, oh wow, because I didn't do my job right. I didn't hold my city representatives responsible for this stuff. I complain about the guy who I replaced. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on the board for 14 years. I went to 0 meetings that he was in before I decided to run. Right. It's my own fault. I should have been at those meetings. I should have been there. I should have been at his camp. I should have been at his campaign rallies saying, hey, we need this kind of stuff. But like most people, I complain from the sideline. That's just that's not what we should be doing. We should be out there. I mean, I would love to see this year when people ran in Hobart. Okay, my District 5 race was contested. I made it to the primary without having a person to run against. John made it to the primary, the one to run against. Okay, District 1 where Mark won at, he had competition in the primary. Mm-hmm. He ran against 2 people in primary, but nobody in the general. District 2, nobody primary, nobody general. District 3, nobody primary, nobody general. District 4, nobody in the primary, nobody in the general. At large, we had the one Green candidate. We had the one Green Party candidate to go against the 2 incumbents. It's like, okay, so 7 elected officials. And so 7 elected officials for council. 2 seats were up for grab. Yeah. Everyone else was running unopposed after the primary. It's like, you got to be kidding me. That's just crazy. People need to get involved. That's where, I'm kind of hoping that, there's 5 people on the Republican side running. There's supposed to be 6, but the one guy's just running on his name only right now. Not actually involved in anything. So, 5 are actually attempting. And there's 14 attempting on the Democrat side. Yeah. I would like to see that the people who lose, 13 are going to lose on the Democrat side. 5 are going to lose on the Republican side. I would like to see those people get involved in their cities. Politics. Like, okay, I didn't make it here, but absolutely, I now, and I would love to see, I'm hoping, even against myself, I'm hoping that I have a primary challenger in, 4 years. I'm hoping that I have a general. I would love to see 4 people running for District 5. Can you imagine 4 people? I mean, we had, Jesus, it's embarrassing. We had less than 600 votes in my district for, wow. We're a district. And what's the population in your district, the voters? About 10,000. Yeah. That's so sad. We had a 15% turnout. And I would love to have 4 people, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. I'll take the one Green Party guy. I don't care. I would love to see people sit down and say, let's make this part better. How can we fix District 5? Yeah. Yeah. Paul's only saying 12. Yeah. Yeah. Nowhere to be seen or heard from. The other 12, right? You have a couple, 2 or 3 that are actually putting their name out there, at least spending money on signs, right? Or ads. Yeah. I would rather connect with the people directly. And there are those that just are running on their name, like you said, on both sides. But I look forward to
actual debates. Some people know this, some people don't. Chris Wells is actually the only person, well, I should say not the only, but he was the one that came forward first to organize a Republican debate. He took care of everything. He was going to set it up at the Hobart Arts Theater. He got permission. He got it all set up. We were going to stream it. Unfortunately, this whole thing, happened, but we were ready. We were going to go. And he was the one that set that up because I believe that it is better in every way the more people you have, because it generates debate if you're actually allowed to hear the voice of each person, because it brings more things to the forefront. It generates more debate. It helps to stimulate conversation. And there are those of us that want to represent the common person. Rich people have enough. They've got enough representation already. Let's face it. They've got, tons of people out there that are already, they pay their money to whatever little causes, and they have the votes that they want. But regular people need a voice. We need the opportunity to pick up the phone and say, hey, no, this is crap. That's ridiculous. We need someone who's going to communicate we need someone who's going to keep the lines of communication open. Because look, could you honestly say that any of these politicians out there, start with Congress, right? The House of Representatives, do you think any of those people who actually handle their own social media accounts?
Oh, heck no. That's and you look at some of those guys too, they don't handle any of their own. They
right.
I always got frustrated going through we always our middle school social studies department chair would always bring in local politicians for 8th grade so they can see, because in 8th grade we teach U.S. history, government, all that kind of stuff, and so they cover the Constitution in 8th grade. And so she would always bring in locally elected officials. And she'd also always get in, Pete Laskowski to come in. And it was always so amazing. Just like, okay, Pete's in town. He has 45 minutes for you. He has to be here next, here next, here next. And I was like, it's not really a chance to talk and find things out where, this year was kind of neat because it happened just after I won my election this year for us. And
okay.
No one, I was like, I'm a teacher. I'm going to be sitting down. And next thing I know, the mayor shows up there and like, hey, you're going to be up there talking as well. I'm like 20 days into my, and we haven't had a meeting yet. You're going to make me up there and talk about what I'm going to do in front of my students. Great. Thanks, bud. Thanks for throwing me the wolves there, and it was fun though. It was kind of neat to see that kind of part. But again, our mayor brings in all of his staff. This is our Parks Department person. This is our person. And he's very open to let people know that, hey, this is why we're making decisions. And that's why my wife gets me in trouble, because she's arguing with the Parks Department right now about, how can you shut the pool down for the summer already? It's like, just don't argue with them. Just simply say you disagree and go on. But no, she's going to get an argument with 8 other people. Please stop. Don't do it. I think she heard me say, she's coming around the corner now. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. One thing I need to point out is that my wife is going to do the exact same thing for me. She's already clarified several times that her comments are not endorsed by Dion for Congress. So.
See,
yeah, that's you. Yeah.
She heard me. And Bible time's over now. She's here to.
Do you want me to go on about the Parks Department closing the pool in April when it's not supposed to open in June until June? Because I can. I have thoughts.
No, I don't. I don't want to deal with that. See?
I have thoughts.
Yeah. See, that's what I deal with.
In the same week that the president announces his plan to start opening up states, and some states will start opening up next week, we announce the pool's closed for the summer.
See, this is what I deal with.
I shall stop
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It's ridiculous.
They have reasons, but she's going to jump and go through.
Their reasons are illogical. If you don't apply logic, you shouldn't be making decisions.
This is the problem I get into, where she's my troublemaker. It's like, you're supposed to be. I can make trouble on my own,
Right. I don't need your help getting into more trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
troublemaker. Yeah,
I wasn't exactly quiet before he ran for office, so
No.
I don't know why he thought I was gonna.
Yeah, exactly. My own fault. So
It is.
yeah,
It is.
so,
Yeah. That's okay. Paul says Massey and Rand is all he's seen that has actually, on social media. And then he said, welcome back, Sarah. He also said we have a very well coordinated
Thomas Massey
city.
needs to run for president, by the way.
Who's that?
Thomas Massey is my new congressional hero, and he needs to run for president.
I agree. I like Massey a lot. I like Massey. I like Rand Paul. The two of those are about some of the only people in Congress that I can actually look at and go, okay, they're actually doing their job. Cooley says, hey, I know about that wife evil eye. Paul says, but it'll be worth it.
See, that's I got myself in trouble, and so.
That's okay.
Bible time.
There you go. Okay. All right, go do that.
Y'all been on there for an hour.
We have it. We have like a
I know, right?
people watching.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So.
There weren't that many on my Bible study.
No, there wasn't. Supposed to be, I got invited to the same Bible study she got invited to because our church is trying to do some stuff online now.
Virtual stuff.
That's one of the part too. Is we're actually kind of really involved in church where she sold me out years ago. When I went to college, I played drums growing up. I played drums growing up, and I quit playing drums to be in football. But then when I got to college, like, hey, you can get to every game free if you join the pep band, because we're trying to get a new pep band going. I'm like, hang on, I can play the drums at a game and get in free. Like, well, we don't have a drummer. We have a drum set, but no drum. Like, oh, time out. You're gonna play the drum set and not just hit some snare or bass drum, and I get to go watch all the games for free at college. So that was a no-brainer to me. I'm like, I like sports. I officiate 2 of them. So when we got back here and found this new church we're going to like 18 years ago, and we walk in the door the first day, and the pastor's like, do any of you guys sing that? And like, no, but and they were talking about band started, and she's like, oh, he plays drums. Like, don't sell me out like that. I went from college helping run I did a radio show at college where I had the heavy metal music hour at night. I did the 10 o'clock to 1:30 in the morning rock and roll show with heavy metal music. And so now I went from there as an 18 to 20-year-old kid to now where I am the drummer in our church band.
Nice. Nice. Hey.
How about growing up and life changing?
Right.
It's so
it really does.
The pastor, like, hey, he plays drums, and it's been fun ever since, man. I got to go buy myself another drum set because I sold my drum set years ago. And so I really enjoy that kind of part now where, so we're fighting our way through right now, trying to actually do the Bible in chronological order. Every story as it happened, so as it happened in time is when we get to it now. So we're 103 days into it, where it's probably the longest I've held any of my New Year resolutions. So it's been kind of fun. So every night before we go to bed, we have the kids help with that. So so good times. So
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. He said Ozzy.
And the one thing I remember is college radio shows were awesome because we were part of the college group where college radio stations were sent the CDs 3 to 4 months before anybody else. They wanted to know what songs the college people liked, so the bands knew what to release. So when Tool's Stinkfist came out, I had that CD 4 months before anybody else, and they wanted to know that when it first came out to us at the college radio station, it was like song 4 or song 6. Which one do people like better? They didn't give us the names to the songs. Just like song 4 or 6, play it and see which one people like better. And so when we go home for the summertime, and here's a new song by Tool. I'm like, hang on, I've been playing that song for 4 months. It's already gone. It's like, yeah, they were using us to figure out what song was a new cool song. So by the time you guys heard it all, I was tired of the song because I had been playing it for months.
Right. That makes sense.
We were the free, they gave us music for free so we could do their little data tracking stuff. So that was always kind of cool. It's like we had the newest, coolest songs of everything. Like, hey, so by the time you guys heard the song, I'd already been playing it. So it's really cool. Yeah. You
already played it out. You were like, oh, that's enough of that, right?
Yeah. Wait to hear the second track we're going to release because that one's awesome. It's like, hey, I already got the second and third track. Before Napster and all the stuff kids have now, where we actually bought cassette tapes and CDs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
trying to get this adjusted. There we go.
So yeah, but yeah. So like I said, I'm really shocked that 1,000 people came out to see this. That's kind of shocking here. So
Yeah. You must be more popular than you thought, right?
Well, probably more infamous. I have, there's probably a lot of students like, all right, he's still in District 5. I could track him down. Remember that time he took my grade away, and just, yeah. So, Paul has a question. See, Paul is either my first or second year teaching. He was in school. So, like, yeah, I'm old enough where Paul could have been one of my first students. That's really
okay.
Cool. That's that's why I was like, with Spencer, Spencer Ray's like, it's like, well, I'm 30 now. I'm like, shut up, quit saying how old you are, because I was your teacher. I was your teacher when you were young. You weren't even 12 yet when I had you in the classroom. He's like, well, you were my teacher. I'm like, shut up. Don't need to do it to me. Don't need to know how old I am.
I know it makes you feel old, doesn't it? When you see how old some of these people are getting, it's like, oh my goodness, So Paul wants to know, if we open, as in the state, on 5/1, do you think we'll have a 4th of July parade?
That's been one of the last things I think we try to cancel, because there's so much involved in that, and it's something that we're really proud of as a city, and what we do for 4th of July. The part I worry about is what's it going to take to get the fireworks, and when are we going to be fined money if we drop the fireworks show? We have to cancel by a certain date or lose money.
Right.
But as for a 4th of July parade, yes, thank God the lady who runs that parade has done it for years and she's really good at it. Mm-hmm. So I bet you give her a week notice, she'll have a parade lined up ready to go, because she knows what she's doing. So it might be smaller, but again, a really talented person who runs it, where it's going to probably sound wrong here, but she could probably have it set up in a week, because she knows what she's doing,
Yeah.
So, yeah, give her some time and she'll make it happen. You just need to have the time.
I really hope so, because it's my plan to have my truck in the parade and have someone drive it. I've got a really big Second Amendment, flag in the back window, and I want to put some more stuff on the side. But Cooley said I got concert tickets on the line. And Paul said the city parade is huge there.
It is.
Well,
yeah.
I think if you start planning for things to happen, and then if you have to cancel them, and this is the argument I got into on Facebook, but if you have But
give her a chance, there she goes.
If you need to plan to move forward, because if you never start making plans to move forward, we're never going to be ready to open anything, because we're waiting until the last minute, and I think the pool falls into that. I think the parade and fireworks fall into that. Plan as if it's going to happen, and then maybe you don't make the full plan, maybe you don't spend all the money, but at least there's something there so that you're ready if it can happen. And can we get the fireworks? And if for some reason we can't have them on the 4th of July, how long do fireworks keep? Can we do something in September? What are our options? Don't just automatically, and this is where I get frustrated, don't just automatically cancel everything.
Right.
Figure out what is the way around this. What plans can we make that are easily changeable? And concerts and stuff, it sounded like they don't think, sorry, Cooley, it sounds like they aren't going to allow those for a really long time.
And see, here's what's going to happen. I'll let you guys know this first is, I'm going to vote to cancel something that she didn't want canceled yet. And then my primary challenger will be my wife. And, talk about running a hard campaign. How do you run a campaign saying, well, my kid and my wife and I are all voting for her, but vote for me? That's really kind of rough to do. It's like, yeah, I want to keep my job. So, yeah. So.
Yeah. But I'm more right than he is, and he's pretty far right, and I'm a couple clicks over.
Yeah.
She's closer to Michael than I am to Michael, so when Michael makes his comments, she might be willing to go a little bit more with him there than I am.
Yeah.
So she's also a short.
Sorry, now that we're standing up, he's 6'4" and I'm 5'5" in shoes, and I'm not in shoes. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I didn't have my phone charged. I was a bad kid.
Yeah.
Unprepared for class.
That's all right.
I was.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Unprepared.
Yep, that's me.
Dang it, man.
Yeah.
Dang it, teacher.
Exactly.
Right?
Bad influence. So
Always.
yeah.
It happens. It happens. Don't feel bad. But so yeah, Paul says me and Sarah like this.
We are. There's one big issue we disagree on, and other than that, lockstep.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Mark said Hobart Special Events stated that postponement is the way the administration will deal with things rather than cancellations. So that's the hope.
Mm-hmm. Even that's not what they did.
I do, and that's okay because Cooley said behind every great guy is a great woman.
Thanks, Cooley.
Yeah, you didn't finish
What?
it. Behind every great guy is a great woman telling he's wrong.
There you go.
So you gotta finish the statement correctly. This is what my students would see during first hour when we were together.
Totally what it was the whole class period.
Yeah, so we'd make comments like this when the kids like, "Oh my God, you two are actually married to each other?" Like, yeah, we do this all day long.
And like each other and love each other, and this is how we interact. Like I said, my mom thought we would get divorced in a year. So
that's that's very close to the way that my wife and I interact. We tease each other, we have fun because you can't take life too seriously. You only have it for a little while, so you might as well enjoy yourself. She helped herself to my computer the first time that we met, and my computer was kind of my baby at the time. She just I'm like, what are you doing? And it just kind of went from there.
I'll say I had a 1970 F-250. I really loved when I first had it.
That's a great truck.
And I was changing the spark plugs on it because gotta work in your own vehicle. And she's yelling at me like, "What? You don't think I can change the spark plugs?" I'm like, "I'd like to work on my vehicle." She's like, "Look, I'm a girl. I can't do it." I'm like, "Get out of my way. Let me work on my vehicle. I can do this." I'm like, let me work on my truck.
But now I can change spark plugs, and I can change my own oil, and I can change all my tires.
See?
I've got you to do it, but I can do it.
Yeah.
There you go. Fair enough.
Samuel's
cool. Oh, okay. Hi, Samuel.
That's a jump, dude. I can move the phone.
There you go.
Samuel.
Aw.
Everyone's favorite.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
How do the rest feel about that?
Oh, everyone agrees. Samuel's everyone's favorite.
Oh, so they all agree, huh?
He's everyone's, Samuel's the fourth boy. He's the special one, so.
Mm-hmm.
He's too stinking cute for his own day.
Yeah.
So I've had principals and teachers tell me, you can't punish him because he gets in trouble and just looks at you with that little Samuel smile and you can't be mad anymore.
Yeah.
It's working great for him. But I told him he's 10. He's 10 and he got in trouble and he tried to pull the cute thing. And I don't even remember what he'd done, but he was in serious trouble. And I told him, I said, "You're 10 now. Being cute is not going to just get you out of trouble." And he burst into tears. And I'm like, "What is the matter?" And he goes, "My cute doesn't work on everybody anymore."
Aww.
So that's where we're at in fourth grade land.
Yeah.
So
it's
I can see that.
Adventure.
Yeah. So it's fun times.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So we probably should let you go so we can go ahead and do our family Bible time at night here, so we can keep on track here.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Oh, there he is again. See, he's our little monkey climber. So there you go.
Yeah.
So, it's been a fun time. It was a good time.
All right.
Enjoy talking, going through.
Absolutely. We'll do it again a little closer, a little more down the road. Remember to stay tuned. I'm gonna drop you out and finish up the end. But I appreciate you joining me. Everybody who tuned in for Chris Wells, make sure that you go to his Facebook page. And it's District 5. How's it set up? Chris Wells for District 5 or just District 5 Chris Wells? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
That's okay. Just look up Christopher Wells, District 5, and you'll be able to see it.
Facebook page?
Yes.
District 5 Councilman Chris Wells.
There we go. District 5 Councilman Chris Wells.
There we go. Yeah, make sure you go to his Facebook page and and follow his page, and we will see him. Just so everybody knows, Chris is he's a constant source here and comes on to most of my live streams, which we greatly appreciate. So thanks for joining us, Chris, and thanks for joining us, Sarah. You have a beautiful family.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
You bet. Take care.
Yep.
All right. So we appreciate everybody that stuck around and hung out with us for the hour and almost 2 hours we were on. So I'm going to end this. Remember, those of you that want to hang out with me, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Dion for Congress. God bless you, and God bless the USA. Before I go, sorry, I forgot. Remember, tomorrow night I have Michael Strauss here with us, who's the Libertarian candidate for District 1. He's going to be joining me for an exclusive interview. So 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. I'm going to send the thing out right after I get done with this and get the video saved and all the stuff that I got to do at night after the videos. So I appreciate you hanging out. Again, God bless you and God bless the USA. This time I can actually end it.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.